And we are live on She's Connected SA. I'm Petro, and today we are talking about womb yoga with Andrea White. Hello, Andrea.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and you? It's been a mission
Yeah, I'm great.
getting you online, I believe, this morning.
Yeah, a few technical issues, but we're here now.
Yeah. So, Andrea, womb yoga, I'm very excited to be speaking about this. As you know, we've done so many other interviews, and it's all got to do with sexual awakening and a healthy womb and healthy women. So, Andrea, please take a moment to introduce yourself to the She's Connected SA viewers.
Okay. I'm Andrea, and I'm originally from the UK. You can obviously hear in my accent. But I've traveled around quite a lot. I've just spent the last 3 years living in Tanzania. And over the last 6 years or so, I've been working with women's health in yoga, and specifically we call it sort of womb yoga. And I'll explain a little bit about that as well. But for me, yeah, I've been teaching yoga for maybe about 7, 8 years, but practicing yoga since, my sort of early 20s. And it's been an evolution of where I am today.
Yeah. Andrea, yoga is such a special, I don't really know what to say. Like, it's not an activity, it's a way of life that I believe people should get into and experience. What does yoga mean to you? I mean, the word yoga, the practice yoga, what does that mean to you?
Yoga to me is about connecting to myself. Yoga is about finding who I am, but not necessarily who I am, who I am in relation to everybody else, how I connect to the world around me, how I'm connected to nature. The whole word, we hear the word yoga and we know it means union, but union to what? We're always trying to find ourselves, and actually it's about finding everything. And for me, yoga is that connection, and yeah, it's a deep awareness.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I read a quote or just a little phrase 2 days ago that said, whatever you find in the cosmos out there in the stars is within the human body. And I think that's what people, we're always looking for an answer outwards and somewhere else rather than going deep within and looking at the internal universe, which is us, and how we can be and reflect that out into the world. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what actual womb yoga is about.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah.
Okay, so Andrea, let's talk about womb yoga. Okay, how did you get into practicing or redefining your practice to womb yoga? Let's talk first of all. Let's talk about the womb, and then we go into the womb yoga practice.
Yeah. Well, I got into it through teaching. And it was more teaching pregnancy, so teaching prenatal women, teaching postnatal women, and then the more that I didn't associate with myself. I thought this was pregnancy yoga. It was something very different. And then learning that the practices were very in tune with it, it really resonated with me, and I thought, this is about me as well. And if I can talk a little bit about what womb yoga is, it's not necessarily a different style of practicing, it's to your practice. So it's actually listening. I use it to listen to my menstrual cycles, and it's the practice of using your menstrual cycle or stage or phase of your life, whether it's pregnancy, postnatal, menopause, to truly bring that awareness into the body and listen to how am I today, and how I am today might be very different from tomorrow and in 2 weeks' time. And it's bringing an awareness to to our where we are in our womb health as well.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, I think, Andrea, do you think that women are neglecting that aspect of themselves, looking deep within and looking at that womb awareness, that which ultimately makes us who we are? You know, that's part of our chemistry, it's part of our biology. And it's such a sacred part that needs to be addressed and needs to, I feel, you know, we need more awareness on that.
Absolutely, and that is one of the roots of this practice, is that there's lots of things that we're doing out there trying to find, you know, spiritual awakening. We're, again, you said, we're looking outside of ourselves, looking for answers, different practices, you know, even the practice of yoga. And actually what we have forgotten, and women have forgotten, that we have our own inner yoga. It's
Yes.
going on every month. It's a fluid system. It goes around, whether it's we tune into our own inner cycle, or whether it's a lunar cycle we tune into. Something changes. And, you know, what it's doing is trying to readdress these issues, because, yes, we were talking about yoga being an amazing practice. But unfortunately, a lot of the practices today have not been designed for women. And this, you know, and this comes quite, you know, controversial, because who is in your yoga class? How many men are in your yoga class? There's not many. And yes, there is millions of amazing yogis and yoga teachers that are men, and they're fantastic. I've got a lot of great yoga teachers who are men. But there is some fundamental issues that are missing in the yoga world. How many times have you been into a yoga class and someone's asked you, are you menstruating? Are you ovulating? Are you? No one asks you these questions. And these, it's not about, I mean, a lot of the practices, I used to be an avid Ashtanga practitioner, and I loved the sequence and the practice. And they used to have, you have to have ladies' holiday. You have 2 or 3 days off in your period.
Yeah.
But I would suffer other times. I would suffer premenstrual. I'd suffer at ovulation. There was different times I had different energies. And some of the practices were not suitable at different times. And this can put a real strain on the system. And if we're looking at this linear practice of growth, we don't live in that. We live in a women's body doesn't live in that. Humans don't live in that either. You know, men and women. We live in a growth, decay, death, reborn. So it's always going around. So, you know, my practice and what I teach now is to have a cyclical practice. You know, your practice today will be different from it is 2 weeks' time. And I can't tell you what that practice is. And that's the hard thing. It's not, oh, this posture helps for this. It's your own discovery. You know, if you love doing certain things at certain times of the month, then you do those things. But, you know, it's bringing that cycle awareness into your yoga practice.
Yeah. Andrea, yeah, you know, that's so beautiful. I think that the work that you're doing is so incredible, and women really need to tune in more to their cycles. Talking about myself, you know, I'm very much like I have these to-do lists, and I have this schedule and this routine that I put out for myself, you know, and I've got to do my face yoga, and I've got to do like my pull-ups, and I've got to do, you know, my aerobics or my dance, my fun or my salsa or my and there's all this stuff that we as women have to do. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, and I get there, that there are days where I get there and I'm like, ugh, this again today, I just don't feel like it, you know. But yet we have to do it. There's so much that makes up your world. And especially if you're looking at your body and you're looking at what's available to you to make you appear to look more beautiful or more sort of healthy, or whether you are, you know, more healthy. Especially if you go for natural practices. I think that yoga and breathing and just meditation is sort of more the natural practice that gets you to that inner beauty and that inner space of peace and calm within a woman's body, especially considering our hormones. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what you said about having your to-do lists. When you become more aware of this cycle awareness and using your yoga to bring that awareness in, because we know yoga brings the awareness, the more you're aware, you will become aware of you will become aware of the areas and the hotspots in your month that you will go, I mean, this is on a personal level. I look at and I know I cannot write emails or answer emails when I'm premenstrual. On the couple of days running up, I know I should not touch any computer. I shouldn't try finish any projects. This is a time for me to hibernate in winter. We use the seasons as a nice, we talk spring, summer, autumn, winter. Winter for me is a time of hibernation. It's a lot of dreaming. It's great for journaling, writing ideas. And when I come into spring and summer, I'm full of energy. I get all of those to-do lists done, but they're there. I don't even try to attempt to do them in my autumn, winter. You know, other people might be the other way around, but we do. You know, we're a lot more creative in our ovulation. And this is a whole new inner power of our womb wisdom that's coming up. It's our female intuition. And it's this, we call it our blood wisdom. You know, it's there. We know the answers to all of it. It's if we tune in, if we're trying to look, and then we become more beautiful.
And just more calm, you know, like, I mean, because there's always this, you know, you get judged for going through your emotions and through your body's emotions as a woman, in our workplace, in our relationships, as a mom, as a friend, you know, and as a friend to most men. You know, women get judged depending on where they are at and what they are experiencing. And sharing this as well, you know, last month, for instance, was a month for me where I had an incredible cycle. I was calm. I didn't have any pain. I didn't even know that I was starting. It was so gentle and so beautiful. You know, and that was incredible because I was focused on my breathing. I was focused on a lot of loving this body and loving where I am at and accepting where I am at. And also eating very raw and healthy, not a lot of sugar. I mean, that, I think one thing, people that eat a lot of sugar, I think that triggers your cramps, your cycle. It triggers like a nastiness to what you experience when you go through your cycle. Would you agree on that, on the sugar bit?
Yeah, I mean, well, we know sugar's not great, but it's very dependent on the person because other people, you know, they eat other things and it upsets them. It really is a personal journey. And it's understanding that, like you said, you know, you had this easeful time going into this time. But it would be interesting to know what you did the other side of the month. You know, we're all we've got quite used to now looking after ourselves in our menstruation. You know, we give ourselves a bath. We look after ourselves a little bit more now. But 2 weeks down the road, we've forgotten that we have periods, and we're running around like headless chickens, and we're doing too much. It's about treating the whole cycle holistically so that you're not depleting yourself. You're not borrowing energy from, you know, yesterday for tomorrow. You know, it's addressing our whole life, and how we, you know, and how we interact. You're saying how we interact with other people, like really listening to what those emotions that come up, because sometimes we let the hormones go a little bit crazy, and you know, stuff comes up and emotions come up, and that's okay, but also addressing what it is and knowing what it is. It's like, this is calling what it is and not getting caught up in, you know, all the drama of our, you know, of our hormone. No, it's okay. And if you're aware of your cycle, you go, okay, I'm day 23. I know I have a bad day 23, 24. And, you know, the more you do this, you take yourself away on those days and you look after yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I have this belief that when women, you know, the closer we get to our cycles, that the day it starts, that you should actually go on a retreat. That you should actually not work, not, you know, have to-do lists, not be around men, you know. And I'm very much a firm believer of like taking that time and owning it and making it yours and really investing in your inner world and your health. Andrea, what is your viewpoint on women who absolutely absolutely 110% don't experience their cycles because they either taking medication to not have that, or having an injection to not have that experience, and the various other methods that are available for women, which I think is just absolutely absurd. What's your viewpoint on that?
We need these cycles.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Many years ago, I used to be on, contraceptive pill. I wasn't emotionally balanced on it. They're not healthy for our hormones. It can have detrimental effects on our fertility, our pregnancies, our postnatal experience. And then these things catch up with you. If you don't deal with it now, every month we get a chance to renew. Yeah. If you don't get this chance, it will catch up with you, whether it's a pregnancy, whether it's, a postnatal time, whether it's your menopause. You will have to go through these cycles. I understand. Obviously, there's lots of women who, if you're purposely not having a cycle, there's obviously lots of people that don't have cycles, and that's a whole new level where we look at other seasons and cycles. Yeah. But for those that are choosing to go down this route, I would, obviously not to judge, but just to listen to yourself to say why are you doing this? Why, because there's other contraceptive ways working. When you work with your cycle awareness, you know when you're ovulating, and you know definitely when you're not. And anyway, there's lots of other things that we should be doing, protecting ourselves anyway.
Exactly.
But it's we need this. We need these seasons. And so, I'd encourage women that are not having cycles for these reasons, just to look at other cycles, like just keep an eye on the moon cycles. Okay, so just look when the full moon is. They'll still be having cycles. Yeah. Men have cycles.
Yes, yeah. Men have women's cycles.
Yeah. So look at the moon, and just notice how you feel on the full moon and the new moon, and just notice if there's any differences, and notice whether, it's quite nice to have these changes and this linear, not necessarily this linear approach to life. It's nice to have downtime. It's nice to have high impact energy time. So I'd encourage people just to listen to their body.
Andrea, would you encourage a diary? Would you say to women, look, have a diary and every day write down what your experience is, and then take that from there? Is that a good therapy practice to get into for women who are feeling emotional and unbalanced and just not healthy in general? Because like here you're in the city. You are available for women to have womb yoga, but yet when you go out and you go to smaller towns and smaller cities, they don't have that. They don't even know about this, So would you, where does one begin your awareness and you're tuning in to your womb? Yeah. And then after that, where do you go to for the information to get somebody to come to you to teach you what you need to do?
Absolutely. So, it depends on the person. So you could work with just a simple cycle awareness. Just write in a diary. There is lots of online resources at the moment. I'm sort of updating all my a lot of my work, so I can put resources on my website so that people can download meditations, yoga nidras. And even handouts for little lesson plans that people can follow. Yeah. But I'd encourage, people that do practice yoga, even if you go into a general class, when you sit at the beginning, just, you can even put one hand on your heart, one hand onto your womb, and just say, how am I today? And honoring where you are, listening to your body. So your body will tell you, I don't feel like doing this one today. And if a teacher says do this and you don't feel like doing it, you don't have to do it. It's your body. So I'd encourage you to listen to your body. And most yoga teachers will tell you that anyway. They can't tell in your body. They're just giving you suggestions. And then you can keep a diary. There's some really nice menstrual journals out there. and you've got some charts and some mandalas that you can just like pinpoint where you are, and they'll just ask simple questions like, how am I feeling today, energetically, emotionally, and any notes, any prominent emotions or feelings or thoughts that are coming up. And you don't have to write too deep into it. You could just write a couple of paragraphs, like, a little line or two. And if you keep that diary for over a year, see what it happens over the month, and and if you chart for about a year, you can see where you go, and it always changes. But you'll have a really strong idea of helping, yourself and know what you need.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about awareness, I think. That's just, I'm speaking to you, and I'm just listening to what you're saying, and it's all about, it all comes down to awareness, really. Awareness, becoming more aware of everything you do, and also becoming more intentful of everything you do. Andrea, what is your business called?
My business is called Butterfly Yoga.
Okay, amazing. And is that what host is that .co.za.com?
At the moment, I'm having a few. Well, I've just moved here, so it's butterfly-yoga.co.uk at the moment.
Okay, fantastic.
And yeah, also sort of linked through sort of Facebook and Instagram as well.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering, I think this is so important. Like, I think I really, and I'm very still with you today. But this is like, how do we get the information out to women? How do we get you to go to where they are? Would you travel countrywide? Would you do workshops? How long would a workshop take for you to teach somebody the basic moves or the basic tools of really getting into that practice of womb yoga? What's possible?
Yeah, I know it's all possible. So I'm starting a sequence of workshops soon, dates to be confirmed in and around sort of Cape Town. And I'll do a series of sort of general womb yoga, sort of things I've been talking about today, about sort of cycle awareness within our yoga, and also some of the practices that we do are a little bit more womb friendly. We don't worry about so much about these linear lines. It's a little bit more flowing, a little bit more not so harsh on the body. It's quite quite gentle, and then you take it from there. How do you want? So these workshops, I'm going to do a couple of general sort of workshops, and then also I'm going to do some more specific workshops on fertility, on menopause, perimenopause, which also seems to be my biggest audience, actually. Because where we move into that area, that's the area that the women now that are dealing with that, they're the ones that have sacrificed a lot for us to be where we are now. They sacrificed a lot of their periods to work, to vote for our rights, so they're needing the support now. So I'm rolling out some workshops, and then I'm also going to do some teacher trainings programs as well. So that's how we get this out. It's about spreading the word. So other teachers that are yoga teachers, or even midwives and doulas that want to working with women, then I will work on training them up, and so then they can go into different areas. And also I'll travel hopefully around doing workshops and training.
Yeah, amazing. Andrea, I have a question for you. On She's Connected SA, we have a pledge going which says, take the pledge, start the conversation, ask the question, and it's about women opening up and sharing their stories and finding out what's happened to the women in other lives. Do you find, and have you worked with women who have gone through sexual trauma, that when they started practicing womb yoga with you, or a specific yoga? For me, I love yin yoga. Do you find that there's a healing that takes place for them, a very powerful, a healing process that activates within them?
Yeah, on a most profound level. It's a very tough situation, but yeah, I mean, the healing is important, but it's also appropriate to have the right kind of healing. Especially if people are sexual abuse. You have to work very carefully. And it's really important for us practitioners to be very aware what we're doing. You know, like good intentions not enough. You know, you can't just go in there and, you know, work someone. You know, it's like working with people with post-traumatic stress. You can't just go in there and tell someone just to, you know, lay down and relax. You know, you need to work very gently, you know, and understand what you're doing. But yeah, there can be some major healing going on if it's done in the right way with the right people.
Amazing. Andrea, I would love to do a 30-day challenge with your business and with you, maybe on the She's Connected SA channel and platform, where we invite women to actually keep diaries and see, you know, how the women in their lives are syncing to, because that's another thing with your womb and your cycle, you know, that's the ability that we as women have is we can connect through our cycles with other women. And I feel that there's a massive disconnect at the moment because we're not aware of our own potential and the potential that this body has to really create a connection with somebody else through empathy and through science, you know, because that's what it is. It's been proven. And then to have that hardcore connection and that yoni to yoni connection with women in this world so that we can create the peace that we are so desperately seeking, and that safety that we are so desperately looking for and looking to create, you know. So I would love to be able to do a 30-day challenge if you're up for that, and maybe see who we can get involved throughout South Africa and the UK, because it's important that the sisters everywhere connect. Would you be interested in doing something like that with She's Connected SA?
Absolutely. It's a very, I mean, women together, actually, and that's one point about womb yoga. Women being together, that's the most powerful tool. That's, you know, if you can get a group of women together, that, you know, it's amazing. I've seen results, you know, you get a room full of women. You don't even have to say anything, do anything. Everyone's already feeling happy. Everyone, you know, people stop bleeding, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, amazing, Andrea. So, on She's Connected, you know, I usually ask the women if there's one last message that they have for whoever's watching or who will be watching. Is there something that you want to share from the heart on the channel to women and to men, to anybody who's willing to listen to you? Is there something that you'd like to share?
Yeah, and it's something that I think, you know, for women and men practicing yoga, or looking for other outside influence on what can help them. The most powerful practices, the most profound practices are the most simplest. The practices of yoga nidra are way more powerful than an hour and a half, you know, intense yoga practice. You know, it's taking the time to go inwards and trust in your heart. It's your inner teacher. All you need. Trust your heart. It's your inner teacher.
And space. Love that. I'm just going to send you a little heart here over the interwide web. Andrea, I'm going to be speaking to you again. For anybody that's watching, please connect with Andrea. You know, if you're moving towards your menopause and you think that the world's coming to an end, it's not. That's actually a very, very sacred time for a woman to be in. It's almost, like you said, it speaks about the rebirth of you, and you're going into, is it the crown, the crone phase. Yeah, it's the crone phase of your life. And then for the women who aren't experiencing their cycles, oh my goodness, I don't even know what to say to you. Like, just experience it, get away from the medicine, get away from the toxins, own your body, own your cycle. It's a natural thing, and it will bring magic into your world once you allow that process and that cycle and that letting go of what you no longer need, what your body doesn't need. So womb yoga, I'm very excited to Andrea, to get womb yoga out there more for women. Let's do the challenge and let's connect again. And thank you so much for being on the She's Connected SA channel. This was definitely a different talk for me today, so I'm looking forward to connecting with you some more. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Okay, thank you, and you too.
Yes, bye-bye.
Bye.